my experience was when I was walking in the direction that wasn't that, I would experience truth aches. They can come in many forms: depression, substitute gratification, endlessly spending money, beating the shit out of people you shouldn't beat the shit out of. I mean,
Yeah.
the individual has to decide what their bones and their being are telling them is an indicator they're off path. For me, it was very clear. I had spiritual emergencies. I had nervous breakthroughs. I would had agitations. I would had dreams and nightmares and all kinds of things that would tell me if I walked in one direction, like becoming a trial lawyer. In fact, after being called to the bar, that I would suffer immeasurably. But in order to hear those truth aches, you have to have a measure of self-awareness. This is where it's challenging because most of us are adapted and armored and are living in a survivalist consciousness, not an authentic one. So we don't know where to look for those indicators.
Yeah.
We have to have more time in nature and have more solitude and do more emotional work. And so for me, I had indicators from an early age. I was very aware. I would sit in undergrad in university and write on the sidebar, "You are not who you appear to be." And I was talking about myself. I wasn't talking about the professor. So for whatever reason, I knew that there was this distinction between who I was meant to become and who I wasn't. And for people who haven't reached that level of awareness where they can't even hear that voice inside of them, the path for me is always go through the body. They have to do somatic work around the emotional body, clear all of the debris, because clearing the emotional debris gives them energy and space to embody the next step on their journey, but it also allows them to have space to hear the voice from within that's trying to call them in another direction.
And I think also what you said, the distractions that we find, whether it's video games or pornography or alcohol and drugs or work for that matter, just these are all ways that I know I can certainly use to avoid feeling anything.
Right. And so one of the biggest problems for all of us as men and for women is that we do live in a world that's organized around a more survivalistic consciousness. So very often those, for example, being a workaholic is economically rewarding and creates more of a sense of security for our vigilant consciousness.
Yeah.
The authentic path often pulls us out of a survivalist consciousness, and we have to do things that are not always materially as beneficial or gratifying. So it's very complicated. You have to develop a very subtle awareness and a real connection internally to begin to understand the difference. And the primary question for me always, not what was I doing, but why was I doing it? You have to constantly, for years and years, ask yourself the question, what is motivating this action? Is this true path, or am I moving for some other reason that's not about moving in the direction of my encoded path?
Hey guys, if you're a man committed to thriving in every domain of your life, then consider joining me personally for Elevate 2021, a year-long coaching adventure for men alongside men. Learn more at bryanreeves.com/elevate. It's Bryan with a Y, reeves.com/elevate.